Okay, so black people are busy. Like, we're very, very busy and we cannot fight everyone's battles. All right. Okay. So, in today's video, I want to discuss why black people don't need to be fighting anybody else's battles other than our own. Intersectionality is an amazing, beautiful thing. But I just think that in 2021, it's a really crucial time for the Black American, and I just think that right now our focus and efforts should be first and foremost on ourselves and our own advancement. I want to make it clear that I am for Black people first, and I'm for Black people always. I'm a Black woman, and I'm a Black woman who's currently living in America. And I'm only in America by way of the Atlantic slave trade. So, exactly. See, for so long, Black people have felt that in order for us to succeed in advance, we have to allow everyone else to stand on our shoulders and backs, right? We have to carry everyone else with us because if we don't, we won't be granted access. And I really hate that for us. I think it's a really disheartening thing. I also want to make it clear that I'm really just speaking from the heart and from spirit right now. I don't have any notes in front of me. This is not about to be some like uber researched video. I'm just speaking off the cuff right now because this has just been sitting heavy on my spirit for quite some time. And I wanted to bring it here to this space, to my platform here on YouTube. I absolutely will delete any ignorant ass comments. I hope y'all know that right the fuck now. Great. So, Black people, we're always so focused on helping everybody else. And everybody else is always focused on getting us to assist them in their advancement efforts. Listen, I love people, right? I love all people. Everybody has a right to equity. And I prefer equity over equality because equality is not equitable. The thing about being a Black American is that you don't really have a home, do you? Except you do have a home because America is rightfully yours, and it always has been, and it always will be. I think Black people have a very hard time accepting the fact that, let me rephrase, I think Black people born in America have a very hard time accepting the fact that you are of this land. Okay? You are absolutely an African in ancestry and DNA, but you have been born on the land of America. And most of the ancestors that you can recall were born on this land. Now, not by choice, of course, but that is the reality. It is my reality, at least. My family is from South Carolina. We did not immigrate to South Carolina. My family was stolen, enslaved, and that's the land that we were brought to. And as a Black American, I've never romanticized Africa. And I've been to Africa. I've spent almost 2 months there. I was in Ethiopia. I was in Addis Ababa. And while I was in Ethiopia, I honestly never felt more comfortable in my life in a place. I truly felt that I had returned home. There's something about being on the continent that awakens I don't know what else to say other than it just brings forth an ancestral memory. There's something about being on the continent that reminds you that this is truly the space of which you are from. And as much as I love that feeling and understand that feeling, I also know that I'm a Black American. And there are privileges that do come with being a Black American. I know it's hard to admit that for Black people. I know that Black people do not like to have the conversation about the privileges that we have being Black Americans, because we are so removed from the continent that we have the wool over our eyes and think that we have absolutely no privileges on this land. And that's not true. What is true is that we are not educated about all of our privileges, right? The Black American does not know the law in the same way that non-Black people tend to know it and understand it in this country. And so what happens is you're brought up and you're raised to believe, you're conditioned to believe that you have no privileges, you have no rights, you have no authority. You forget that you are sovereign, that you honestly are the only person who is in control of you at all times, and you forget that you are the only person that gets to call the shots. And Black people are busy. We're busy. Like we're just we're busy. We have other things to worry about. And I'm not saying that we don't have to go out there, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't be going out there and marching on the behalf of our other non-white sisters and brothers and people. But maybe that doesn't need to be our focus. Maybe our energy, all of our energy, doesn't need to be spent fighting on behalf of someone else. Now, historically, right, I'll just go to maybe what is closest in contemporary times. Let's bring up the Black Panther Party, okay? The Black Panther Party, right, partnered with as many non-Black organizations as possible to build numbers, because there's always strength in numbers. And honestly, if all non-Black people would just stop if non-Black people would stop choosing confusion, and if all other non-Black people would just band together and rise up, because there's strength in numbers, a lot of the things that we're all complaining about, and anybody Black, Asian, Hispanic, Latino, whatever it may be, just non-Black and non-white. If all other non-Black and non-white people stopped choosing confusion, right, and allowing themselves to be divided, a lot of the things that all of us are complaining about, that all of us are suffering from, really would be stopped immediately. It would be stopped immediately, because I'm sorry, but who gonna stop us? It's way more of us. It's way more of us. And I'm just speaking in terms of America. Like, it's way more non-Black people and non-white people and Black people in America than there are white people. Because you have to remember, everybody is not documented. Everyone does not fill out the census. Okay? Immigrants exist. There's more of us, but we're not unified. And we can romanticize, the 60s and 70s and 80s all we want, but none of those political movements or agendas were perfect or free of their flaws. But one thing I would argue is that the focus was on Black people. And even if you were non-Black and non-white and a part of the movement, it was understood that the focus is Black people. So we're going to solve that issue first, and then we'll get to everything else. But we're going to solve that issue first. See, here's the thing. Everybody always likes to bring up how everybody else was enslaved too, and everybody else went through this, that, and the third, and that, blah. And that's, all right. Like, okay. Like, where I'm not here to discuss whose struggle was worse. At the end of the day, there are millions of people in America who have no idea where they're from actually, and they're Black people. Because there was a systematic effort. There was a system put in place to make sure that was the reality, that this is the reality in 2021. In 1742, in 1609, in 1812, like, are y'all understanding me? There was a system put in place to ensure that right now in 2021, I don't know exactly where I'm from on the continent of Africa. And that it'll be extremely difficult for me to find out. There was a system put in place. And that system has never been replicated for any other peoples on this entire planet. It happened to the African. And it only happened to the African. And it's 2021, and we're still trying to have a battles of comparison. Who had it worse? There is nothing to compare. There's nothing to... Whole languages don't exist anymore. Are you kidding me? There's no comparison. And then sometimes people even like to bring up the indigenous people of America. That's an entirely different thing. What happened to the indigenous people of America was an entirely different thing than the literal enslavement of the African. So once again, there is nothing to compare. Black people are busy. We don't have time to be focusing on everybody else. Intersectionality, it's an amazing, beautiful thing, but Black people are busy. So please stop asking us to fight your battles too. And not only fight them, but win them for you. Stop. The successes that non-Black and non-white groups have gotten in their fight are only because of the advancements that Black people have made on this land. The things that we fought for and are continued to be denied. But it's being handed out to everyone else. Yeah, slowly, but slowly and surely it's being handed out to everyone else. How quickly they can pass bills, right? For Asian Americans. And I'm happy for them. But isn't it amazing how quick, how fast that all happened? But, Black people still are asking for things like that. There's so much debate and conversation that has to happen when Black people ask for the same. We've already been asking for it, though, haven't we? So I just want you, if you're not a Black person, to reconsider asking a Black person to help you with something today. Because Black people are busy and we don't have the time to devote our energy to your fight. Intersectionality is a beautiful thing, but I would like Black people to focus on Black people. That's what I want to see more of from us. The focus needs to be put back on ourselves. I think we've almost even romanticized intersectionality. Like now it's almost like if you're Black and you're fighting the fight if you aren't including every other non-black and non-white fight in there, you're a bad person. Why? Why can't black people fight for black people? And when I say black people, understand, I mean all black people. I mean all of us. All black people, gay, straight, bi, intersex, okay? Those with limited disability, okay? Those with disabilities. I'm talking about all black people. I'm talking about all black people. All of us. Why can't black people just fight for black people first before we fight for everybody else? Why does that make everybody else so angry? No other group is being asked to fight for everybody else too. Black people are busy, okay? So before you ask a black person to help you today, just remember that black people are busy.